In this video, we have got a pretty fast and bang on 100 kill game with the RSC sniper rifle from the Scout class in Battlefield 5 on Devastation Conquest, and let's get straight into the specializations. So as you can see, I choose to go with the recoil buffer, the quick reload, the barrel bedding, and finally the bayonet, being left, right, right, and left. Now the first specialization choice is pretty important. Of course, you've got recoil buffer, which is going to lower your vertical recoil, or aim down your sights 33% faster. Now, given that this is one of the most aggressive semi-automatic sniper rifles in the game, the fact it's got a high damage drop-off, going to 3 bullets to kill at a very, medium to close range, or sooner than any other semi-automatic sniper, then you are forced to use this gun in those closer to medium ranges, and therefore aggressively. So you would think that, aiming down your sights faster is probably a good specialization choice to go with. However, I would advise you're not going to use this in such a close range that you're going to be in range of those super fast TTK, medic weapons or support weapons. So obviously, as I always say, shotguns, ZKs, Type 2As, Sumis, and the like. You're never really going to be wanting to use this gun in those ranges anyway, even though that's considered aggressive. You're going to want to stick with this gun at medium range, about as far as you can go before it drops down to 3 bullets to kill, and therefore I would much rather and prefer to have the lower vertical recoil. You've only got 6 shots, you need to land 2 shots to be able to get a kill, at any time, whether that's a body shot and a headshot, and so you want that lower recoil so that the sight can come down onto the target faster, which it will help you as well with you pulling down on the thumbstick against that recoil as well, and it'll help you basically just get those 2 shots on target faster and get a faster kill. Aiming down your sight, while it can help you in some scenarios, if you use good positioning and stay at those medium range engagements away from those close range weapons and those close range enemies, you shouldn't have to need to get into so many gunfights throughout the course of an entire game that you will therefore benefit more from having lower vertical recoil rather than just aiming in faster to win that odd gunfight throughout the course of the game. The second and third specialization choices are pretty simple. You're going to have a quick reload on the right, followed by another accuracy buff. First is on the left, a slings and swivels, so just basically changing to your secondary faster or pulling the gun up faster, as well as a hipfire spec, of which the hipfire spec on this type of gun, which you don't want to be using in close range, is pretty useless. And the slings and swivels, again, is more of a close range aggressive specialization, which you don't really need or want to choose. So therefore, the best specializations to choose is going to be the quick reload and, again, an accuracy specialization, which you want to take as much of these as you can to improve accuracy on a gun with only 6 rounds where you need to hit 2 shots to get a kill. So therefore, the kill potential per magazine of this gun is therefore quite low, and so you need high accuracy. And lastly, the final specialization choice, of course, is going to look at whether you want to go with a bayonet or a lightened stock, which of course will increase your ADS strafe speed. Now, a lot of people would like to use the ADS strafe speed or lightened stock on a lot of the medic weapons, and that's something, or probably one of the only classes and types of guns I would go with and use lightened stock on. However, again, lightened stock is one of those specializations which can help you in close range, obviously with aggressive gunplay and aggressive gameplay style. The lightened stock, I do find personally, lowers my accuracy, as well as, of course, lowering the enemy's accuracy because you're moving faster, but lowering your accuracy by moving faster with a gun which has got a slow fire rate and only 6 rounds, right? By the time you've fired off 2 shots and you've missed 1, or you've missed both of them, the other enemy, doesn't matter if they've missed half of their 30 round or 50 round SMG magazine, because you're now a faster target to hit, they've still got 20 rounds, 30 rounds, and they've probably already hit so many bullets on you, and you're probably dead. So I would very much advise not going with the lightened stock on this gun, and trusting that as soon as you see someone and you stand still and you aim in, that you'll be accurate to hit, and get those 2 shots at least within 3 bullets to get the kill, and be accurate, more accurate and quicker than the other enemy, rather than relying on movement speed to make them less accurate while also sacrificing your accuracy. The bayonet is therefore the the final specialization choice left. I'm not a massive fan of the bayonet because it's very inconsistent in terms of you'll just literally slide through or past enemies and it won't go into the takedown animation. However, again, it is a specialization which can be quite useful on a gun with only 6 rounds, because when you do run out of ammo and you do get pushed by a squad or enemies up at close range, and it's the last thing you can sort of use and go with, it can get you out of jail a few times and keep you alive. Okay, so moving on, and before I get into the pros and cons, probably the biggest and most obvious thing that's sticking out with what I'm using on this gun is going to be the sight. Probably an unusual one for many people watching is that I'm using an iron sight on a sniper rifle or even a semi-automatic sniper rifle. Now, the main reason for this, and it's something I tried many years ago, there's an RSC or a video I made which you can go back and watch, how to turn the RSC into a beast or a monster gun, and that is simply because I changed to using the iron sight, which as you can see is one of, if not the cleanest iron sights in the game. It's got a super thin front post, which makes it really good and easy to have pinpoint accuracy on an enemy's body, chest, head, wherever, at most different ranges. Now, the 3x and 6x scope of this gun does have a weird recoil pattern. It moves around quite a lot, and they have very thick posts, which when you've only got 6 rounds, you've got a gun at medium to long range, which drops and increases to 3 bullets to kill. You therefore need to have 50% accuracy per mag. That's if you've got all 6 rounds. Now, remember as well, another factor to add in here is when you reload from an empty mag, you only have 5 rounds. So in most cases, at those medium to long ranges, you're needing to hit more than 50% of your magazine to get a kill on those long range targets. And normally you're using a 3x or a 6x at those medium to long ranges. So it's absolutely not advisable to use the 3x or the 6x on this gun for all of those reasons, due to the damage drop off, going to 3 bullets to kill, needing to hit over 50-60% of your mag to get a kill, the thick posts of the 3x and the 6x as well, which obviously lowers your accuracy. Having those thick posts, it blocks the enemy's body or enemy's head at range, so you actually end up shooting shots at a target you think you're aimed on, but you're actually not. You don't get any hit markers, obviously. So all of those reasons are basically why not to use a 3x or a 6x, as well as all the reasons I've mentioned about how good the iron sight is, as well as using this as a close range aggressive gun. It's a match made in heaven. It's a brilliant combination that you should definitely try out. So very briefly about the pros and cons of the gun. I'll start off with the cons because I do feel like there are more cons to this gun than there are pros. Of course, I've mentioned the massive damage drop-off going to 3 bullets at those medium to long ranges, which for a semi-automatic sniper rifle is not very useful. It doesn't make it, really a better option than using any other semi-automatic assault rifle, which will get kills with 3 bullets to kill at many closer and longer ranges. So that's one of the biggest cons of the gun. Again, the 3x and 6x with thick posts and a weird recoil pattern, matched with that damage drop-off, make them basically unusable. And it doesn't have the quickest of fire rates compared to the other semi-auto snipers in the game. So the ZH and the Selbst ladder, which come in with 163 rounds per minute, when they do include the trigger drop specializations themselves. And of course, it is slower than the Model 8, which has 199 rounds per minute. In terms of the pros of the gun, of course, the iron sight is going to be one of the cleanest in the game. The gun has a mag or ammo capacity of 6 rounds, which out of the 4 semi-automatic snipers in the game, it is obviously joint with the ZH being able to have 6, versus the 5 which you get as standard with the Model 8 and the Selbst ladder 1906. Of course, this isn't a massive positive over those guns which only have 5, because when you empty the magazine of this gun and do a full reload, then obviously you are stuck with 5 rounds until you reload it again. So you can either see that as a con in terms of it having an even slower reload to get back to 6 rounds, but the majority of the time you are going to be doing full reloads and obviously left with 5 rounds. So it's a positive, but not a massive one. And I guess the final positive to mention is just going to be it's got a decently fast reload, and the bayonet is something which is not on all of the other semi-auto snipers as well. But overall, I would say this is quite an underrated, or rather, probably a better term is a very underused gun in Battlefield 5. I would say it's not used in the correct way. A lot of people would think as a semi-auto sniper, it should be good and to be able to use it with a 3x or 6x scope at long ranges, but there is a build, as I've explained, while using the iron sight and staying at those closer to medium ranges. You can make this gun work as one of the better semi-auto snipers in Battlefield 5. If you have watched this far, please smash the like for me, and I will see you on the next video.
Auf diese Koordinaten, Soldat. Fordern ein V1-Luftschlag an.